Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. Thanks so much for tuning in. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you to my channel where it's all about connecting our culture through our stories. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Again, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Tim Swain. And I've been doing some reflection over the past 3 years of living in Ghana. And if this is your first time joining me, let me share a little bit of my story. I'm going to talk about some of my reflections. And then I'm going to talk about the confessions of an expat living in Ghana. So, brief overview of my story. I first came to Ghana it was a long time ago, in like 2007. It was an amazing experience. My life was transformed. My sense of Africanness was like embedded within my heart, especially as someone growing up in the U.S. of A. as a Black American. And over the past like 17 years, I've been coming back and forth. And then in 2019, my family and I stepped foot right here, got off the plane December the 4th, 2019 with one-way tickets. And it was the beginning of an incredible journey. And when I first got here, I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about the culture. I was challenged in a lot of ways. And I think what I remember happening was going through a transition that I talk about in one of my other videos. The description is in a link below where I talk about the 5 phases of cultural integration. But I went through all these phases and I got to the place to where I developed a sober mind about the country, about myself, and about my identity. So what I want to do right now is have a little bit of intimate time with you, right? Just a little bit of time with me and you having a one-on-one conversation. And I'm just talking about, from my perspective, some of the things I've been thinking deeply about being an expat in Ghana. The first thing is this notion of home and heritage. A lot of people like myself, particularly people of African descent, we live in a place that is so racialized like America that we never forget the fact that we're different. And it's not just a feeling of being different, especially if you understand the history. You look around and there are constant reminders that not only are you different, but you're still relegated to second-class citizenship, specifically when you know the history. And you put the things together like, the bombing of Black Wall Street, and you even look at some of the economic genocide that's taking place all across America. So when people like myself come to Ghana, oftentimes we're coming to escape something, right? And we come trying to desperately reconnect with our roots. And that was me. And when I got here, what I realized was I came from a world where sometimes the most important thing that connects us is this, the color of our skin. But when I got to Ghana, I realized everybody Black. So that wasn't the thing that connects us, but the thing that connects us is culture. And I realized that my culture, coming as an American, was very different than entering into a space for the average Ghanaian. And so it challenged me on my notions of home and heritage. How? Well, number one, it made me realize that I feel like God places everybody here for a specific purpose, and I think that nothing is a mistake. And so for me, when I started thinking about home and heritage, what I realized was, after feeling like, man, I'm not at home in Ghana, right? What I realized was this notion of home has morphed throughout the years. Because at one point when I first got to Ghana, I said, you know what? I ain't never moving back to the U.S. of A. I never want to live there ever again, and blah, 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 blah. I was actually having nightmares when I first got to Ghana, to be honest with you. I had nightmares that I was actually living in the United States again. That's how bad it was for me. But then when I got here, right, and I got into like this sober mind, I began to see some of the real challenges that the everyday person faces. Simple things like, how do I pay my bills? Like I'm making 10 CDs a day. I'm spending 2 of that on some food. I'm spending maybe 2 of that to sleep under somebody's shed and maybe 1 CD for water. Like, this is real life. And I began to see that a lot of us as expats, we come in as people of a privileged class, and our perspective is very different. And so when I began to think about home, I realized that culturally, I am an American. I'm culturally a Black American. Black, but I'm still an American. And culturally, right, I am different from the average Ghanaian. That's a fact because of my exposure, because of my expectations, because of my obruniness, or whatever you want to call it. I am different. And I oftentimes think about this notion of heritage. The truth is, historically, all people come from the continent. That's a fact. That's been proven. When we look at people of African descent, particularly if you want to look at recent times in terms of like the transatlantic, right? The truth is, because a lot of African Americans have no idea historically where they come from, a lot of us are like culturally malnourished. We're like geographical bastards because we don't know who our home daddy is, so to speak. And so we come here deeply seeking connection and meaningfulness in Ghana or in Africa. And what we find is sometimes the feeling of being an outsider persists here. Because once again, the thing that separates us or the thing that unites us is not the color of our skin, but it's our culture. And we come from a very different culture. And I've had many conversations with people, and what I realize is, like myself, a lot of African American perception of America changes as well. So some of the confessions, right, that I've heard is we now see America differently. We now develop an immigrant kind of mentality about the place, right? Because in America, you got two different types of immigrants, the voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary is basically if you came there on your own accord, regardless if you're fleeing somewhere out of persecution, you still came there voluntarily. Involuntarily means I ain't asked to be here, I'm here, right? Malcolm X said we ain't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. So African Americans are involuntary minorities in America. But when you come to a place like Ghana, and let me just talk about for me, forget everybody else. What I realized was I came from a place of privilege. I came from a place where if I want to buy a home, I could do that at 3.5 or 7, or I'm not 7, that's crazy, but like 4% interest rate or something like that. I can go and finance a car. I can get access to some of the best medical health care. Now, I'm not saying those things don't exist in Africa. I'm not saying that. If you come for me in the comment section, I'm cool because I got a thick skin. But I am saying from living here for a number of years, the access is very different. And if you don't believe me, ask the average Ghanaian. Not the average expat, but the average Ghanaian. Their perceptions of the things I'm talking about. And so I got to the place now where I have developed a mentality where I consider myself to be a multi-continental citizen. I'm not Ghanaian, at least as far as my heritage knows. I don't know, maybe I could be somewhere in the bloodline. I don't know. But the other reality is I still don't feel at home in America. Because America is a place to where we all know that the system, the injustices, they still persist. So what I'm getting at is this, right? There is a new identity that is developed, right? An identity that seeks to connect with brothers and sisters in a more substantive way that is deeper than just being black. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you come here as an African from the diaspora, as an American or whatever, the whole feeling of being black, I'm not black or whatever, listen, it wears off. When you get your money chopped enough times, it's going to wear off, trust me. When you deal with some of the structural issues enough time, it's going to wear off. But these are just some of the confessions that I have because I've been doing a lot of reflecting upon like this sense of identity. And I think that for a lot of us, I want to encourage my brothers and sisters who have come to Ghana and they weren't able to fulfill their dreams immediately, right? And they had to go back and sometimes they feel a sense of disappointment and discouragement. They feel like they failed. I want to remind them that to dismiss the Americanness of who we are is to dismiss the great lineage of inventors, of political revolutionaries, community activists, scientists, doctors, teachers, and all those black Americans that took significant strides to improve their condition and also improve the conditions of a world that they had not yet seen. To deny our Americanness is in essence to spit in the face of our black American ancestors that strive to make a better life, not just for their children, but for generations that they would never see. To deny our Americanness is to really forego a significant part of our formation and our story that in essence enable us to be in a position to see the world as we see it. So I believe that for brothers and sisters out there watching, don't come to Ghana because you hate America so much. Learn to appreciate the blessings that you have while you're building a legacy somewhere else. Because I'm going to tell you, when you get here, I'm going to give you about 6 months. Watch some of my other videos and you'll see the struggle is real. In my opinion, it is much harder to be successful in Ghana than it is America, but it's a whole lot easier to be free. I'm going to say that again because I know some of y'all ain't hear it. In my opinion, it is much more difficult to be successful in Ghana than America, but it's a whole lot easier to be free. And that's the thing that keeps people coming back. The fact that they can walk down the street and not have to worry about being harassed because of the color of their skin. They can allow their children to play outside without feeling like some weirdo is going to snatch them up and all these other kind of crazy things we have to think about. The fact that you can, have somebody insult you in traffic, but they're not going to get out the car and shoot you, right? All of these things that really grant you peace of mind. But at the same time, for me, I challenge people. Don't deny the identity that you've already developed because it is an integral part of who you are. And as you come to Ghana or Nigeria or any other place on the continent, learn how to merge those two realities so that you can live your God-given purpose. I just wanted to put this information out there because I know there's a lot of people out there like myself that are kind of like struggling with this whole identity piece. And at the end of the day, remember, whoever God has formed you to be thus far does not dissipate as you're entering into this new context. It just integrates and it transforms to create the new you. So, those are my confessions. As an expat living in Ghana, I hope this information was helpful and insightful. If you like this video, as always, subscribe. Until next time.